Hey everybody, this is Michael Malbrough from michaelmalbrough.com. What I want to talk to you about today is the four types of business sellers. All right? Currently, I'm talking about buying online businesses, how you can buy an online business and profit basically within the first 30 days. Now, when I say that you're going to be able to buy a business, there's a lot to it, which I go over. I made a quick video that explains it at michaelmalbrough.com/buybiz. Today, I want to get into the details of what you can do while you're negotiating to give yourself a leg up. And that is by knowing the four types of business sellers. So this is how people communicate and how you can, within the first few seconds of speaking to someone, understand what type of communicator they are so that you can mirror that and help them to see the value in your offer by communicating what is valuable to them. It's no tricks, but it's just straight up knowing, hey, this is how this person likes to be communicated to because this is how they like to communicate. So the first and most important thing to understand is that there are four types, which are feelers, thinkers, jokers, and stones. So feelers. What is a feeler and how can you tell? So a feeler is going to express themselves very, I don't want to call it emotionally because it's not necessarily that they're emotional, but they're going to express to you how they feel like you're treating them or how something made them feel or how someone made them feel. They're going to oftentimes talk about other people. So the reason why they're difficult to communicate value with some types is because they are sympathetic people. They want to know that you care about them specifically. They want to know that you are not just here to make a purchase. They want to feel connection. But yeah, so how you can tell if someone is a feeler, they will tell you a story that involves other people. For example, if you said, hey, how's your day? To a feeler, they might say, oh, well, it was great. Me and Jessica from work had a great conversation and we went out to lunch together. And then I talked to this lady and she was trying to sell her car, and they're going to give you stories of other people and what happened in the other people's day, which is vastly different from how thinkers and stones are. So a thinker is a detail-oriented person. It doesn't mean that they're highly intelligent. It just means they like information to be disseminated in a certain way. They're very detail-oriented. So if you are talking to a thinker, they're going to want to know the numbers. They're going to want to know specific details. And they may be a little bit of a perfectionist. For example, if you send an offer to someone who is detail-oriented, they are going to want to know the cents, the pennies, and the quarters of the offer. They're also going to want to know what you want to buy specifically. So, for example, if you're buying a content website, you might say, I want the website. But if they have employees, you didn't ask for that. And so you're getting the website, not the employees that work on the website. And you might be thinking like, oh, I bought that, but you didn't, because you're talking to a detail-oriented person and you didn't specifically request that. So a big part of what you have to do with a detail-oriented person is be very specific. You have to tell them, hey, I would like to know all of this so that I can formulate my offer correctly because I don't want to leave anything out. The good thing about speaking with a detail-oriented person is that they're not going to be emotionally involved typically. They don't express it as though there's an emotion. They're logically engaged first. So if the deal makes sense, they're probably not going to be too worried about it. Next is the jokers. So how can you tell a joker? Well, they make jokes. They make a lot of jokes. They want to laugh and giggle and have fun. And so if you say, hey, how was your day? They'd say something like, oh, any better and I'd be fishing. It's like, what? Why? But that's a joker. A joker is going to try to make a little joke. They're going to try to do something that's a little bit charismatic. And so there's nothing wrong with that. And how you communicate with them is the same way. You want to also be throwing out jokes. If they're not having fun with you, they're probably not going to want to do business with you. Now, how do you separate the fun and the jokes from the serious? Well, number one, you make your jokes when it feels like it's the right time to make a joke, right? Now, how you can tell is when either you're just starting to get on the phone or the tension is starting to build, right? For example, there's been times where I was talking to a seller that is starting to get a little frustrated. And I said this, I said, I get it. Everybody hates on Jordan too, right? Speaking about myself. and, and it was when they were somewhat frustrated about a situation and they were kind of calling my integrity into question. Integrity is very important to me. And so for me, that's not something I would normally make a joke about. But because I knew that they are a joker, I had to. If I didn't, and I let myself feel angry or unhappy about it, I most likely would have lost the deal, just because I'm dealing with somebody who doesn't really mean anything by it when they poke fun at you. Okay, so the next person is a stone, right? The stones are kind of how they sound. They're very short, right? You might say, "Hey, how's your day?" They'll be like, "Good," and that's it. And so for a stone, how you can tell they're a stone is that they use one or two word answers. They're very short, very direct. And when you are talking to them, you have to be the most confident person in what you're doing and what you're saying. If you're not confident in what you're saying, you're basically sending them signals that they shouldn't trust you. So here's an example. If you said, "Hey, so I was talking to my partner who is going to be running the business, and I think that we are going to need some more time." That person is going to get upset, and you're going to think it's because you need more time. But it's actually because you just made them feel uncertain by saying, "I think." They deal in certainty. They want to know the facts. They deal 100% in facts. And if you don't give them the facts, or if they don't feel like you're confident in what you're saying, they immediately lose patience. Now, here's the thing to understand about these four types of sellers. Just because you get on the line or you are messaging somebody who is a thinker or a joker doesn't mean that they won't switch personalities on you and go from being a joker to a feeler, or a joker to a stone, or a joker to a thinker. We all do this, where your primary way of communicating might be to have fun and make jokes, but when somebody does something that makes you feel a certain way, you switch. And it's not always going to be the same. Sometimes you're going to switch to a stone, sometimes you're going to switch to a feeler. And so you really have to be cued in. It's almost like one of those books where it's like, "Hey, I choose this thing, go to page 20. But if I don't choose that thing, I go to page 7 or something like that." So ultimately, these are the business sellers and the way that they will be communicating with you. Now, I will say, if you want to learn more about how to find a business, buy a business so that you can have that income coming in, again, go to michaelmalborough.com/buybiz. But this is the thing. When you communicate with a seller, and I hope that you communicate with a lot, you have to understand that, number one, they're always going to come from a personality type or a communication style first. And when you find that out, you need to give them what they're showing you, because that's what makes them feel comfortable in their communication. For example, if I am a feeler and I talk to a stone like a feeler, they're going to not want to talk to me anymore. If I'm a thinker and I'm talking to a joker and I come from it like a thinker, they're not going to want to talk to me anymore, because it's like oil and water. It doesn't mesh. So you really have to pay close attention. And by doing so, you'll win a lot more of the negotiations that you're in. If this was helpful, leave a comment, share this or like it or something like that, so that I know that you want more of things like this. This is Michael Malbrough once again, michaelmalbrough.com. All right, now talk to y'all in the next one.